yield your ground as opposed to stand your ground. Florida has a stand your ground law. I think there are 16 states that have what are called stand your ground laws. And one of the things that I have noticed, and this is not earth shattering, I'm sure, everybody is more stressed right now than ever before. And it makes sense. I think, and I've said this to friends as well as to you all who are my friends, if we would have gone back to the great pandemic of 1918, were people more stressed then than they were, say, 50 years later or during the 70s even, or whatever? There have always been times and things to make us stressed. But global pandemic is certainly one of the things that has stressed people out. Now, when people are stressed out, they go into survival mode. Let me say that again. They go into survival mode. Right now, people are literally in survival mode. I have to say, I feel like I'm in survival mode when I'm around people, especially people down here not wearing masks, because most people down where I am are not wearing masks. Most people where I am are not practicing social distancing. Like I've said before, they seem to think that because they're in the tropics, it's somehow magical and disease can't, move from person to person. So I feel like I'm in survival mode, not somewhat. I feel like I'm in survival mode. Now, because of that, when we are in survival mode, our egos take over. And our egos are all about what's in it for me. They're all about literally taking small things and making them into big things. Your ego starts looking around and going, what's that? What's wrong? What's that? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? That's what our egos do. And it's funny, having just done that, I feel more anxious than I did just a moment ago. I feel more anxious simply by just having done that. So we are all in survival mode more than we were in the past. And we already tend to walk around in survival mode more often than we should, by far. And the reason is because of what I've shared with you many times before, and I've written about in my books, and that's what I call enrage and engage. When you can upset someone, you're going to get their attention, and that's exactly what the media knows and does. The media is designed to enrage us and engage us. Well, right now, we are in survival mode more than ever before. And I want to encourage you to take a breath and step aside. And I mean that. I was raised during the John Wayne years of the 1960s, where real men don't cry and you stand your ground all the time and you never let anybody get by you. And I've been thinking about that. Especially watching the Florida man in the Costco who lost his mind over someone standing there filming him in a camera. Now, this guy chose not to wear a mask in a Costco, and someone chose to walk behind him 20, 30 feet with a camera. The guy without the mask kept turning around screaming, "I feel threatened, I feel threatened, I feel threatened." He was not being threatened by camera. He was using that as a warning, because in Florida, if you feel threatened, you can respond by standing your ground. Well, the man was so outrageously upset, and he was actually not threatened. He felt threatened inside. And the point I'm trying to make is looking at this man with the eyes of compassion. In his mind, he did indeed feel threatened. And I think what we need to do is we need to step back and we need to step aside. There are so many opportunities right now for people to engage us because they feel justified in doing so. And that's us too. And I think that we need to realize that everybody is walking around. Greg Bear, the author of the book Real Love, talks about people who have had a history of abuse and neglect, like myself and like many of you. We tend to walk around with a constant sunburn. If you touch us, it's like, ow, Well, right now, everybody is at ow. And I want to invite you to simply let people pass. I've said this before. One of the most difficult things about moving, no, the most difficult things about moving down here to Florida is I have lived in South Carolina. I have lived in North Carolina, many places in North Carolina. I've lived in Washington State, and I have driven in almost every other state in between a lot. I'm a driver. And the people here drive unlike anyone I have ever seen. You have got the absolute far ends of the spectrum. You have got people who drive 30 miles an hour below the speed limit in the passing lane, retired people typically, and that's, you know what, that may be me. Then you got the people who are always in a hurry and driving up on people's bumpers, etc., and that was me. And I've tried all kinds of things to drive down here. I have tried getting out of people's way, but then I find that I'm still in people's way. And one of the things that I found is I try to drive the same as if no one is there, as if someone is there. Now, if someone is there, I have to take that into account. In other words, I have to not drive up on their bumpers. I need to yield my ground. And if someone needs to get past me, I need to yield my ground. Otherwise, I need to not let their upset and frustration, and this is the key, you need to yield your internal ground. So many people, especially down where I live, want to talk about what would Jesus do? Would Jesus stand his ground? Would Jesus bow his chest and clench his fists like this man in Costco? Or would Jesus take a step aside and smile and say, I know you're hurting? What would the Dalai Lama do? What would Joel Osteen do? I can't see Joel Osteen bowing up his fists and getting pissed off in a Costco. So I want to invite you to remember that right now everybody's walking around with a bit of a sunburn. Everybody is an ouch. And it's not worth engaging someone. It's worth stepping aside. It's worth yielding your ground. You are not diminished internally when you have the courage and the strength to let someone else pass. And I'm talking to myself about this as much as anything, because I feel this need to correct people when they come up to me with or without masks, and not doing it, stepping aside. The other day I mentioned this, and I'm going to close with this. I went to get on the elevator, and there was a family of tourists here, and you could see they were very happy. I love to see tourists, and I actually did a JumpStart about this before, seeing the world through tourists' eyes. And where I live, there's so many people who are just here for a while, and everything is just wow. And they were like, hey, get on the elevator with us, and we have small elevators. And there was 3 people in an elevator, maybe built for 4. And I wasn't going to be that 4th person. I feel like I should be the only person in the elevator. And I just smiled, and I thought to myself, what are my choices? And I ran through them in my mind. I can wait for another elevator. I can sit there and be angry. And then the other thing was, like I said the other day, I could take the stairs. It's only 5 floors. I'm 60 years old. My goal is to live to be 100 in good health and in good shape. And if I can't take 5 floors, me and Teddy, something's wrong. So I yielded my ground, not only physically, but most importantly, internally. I didn't hold that they had somehow disrespected me. We need to get over that, y'all. People are disrespecting you. Don't take it personally. If you take it personally, they have won. If you take it personally, someone has won. If someone is trying to get in your face and not wear a mask or whatever, and you allow it to really rile you, they've won. So if you want to win, figure out a way to keep that internal dial down. The way I do it is meditating twice a day. All right. We are going to take a look at all of your comments and check-ins, check-out now time, if you would, so that we can get in with the group of complaint-free meditators. And if you have not yet, and if you want to figure out how you can dial your dial down, the meditators will tell you it's through daily meditation. And if you want to join us, We're live, complaintfreemeditation.com. All right. Glad to be here, says Heather Ellis. Wonderful words to hear. I really needed to hear this reminder this morning. Thank you, Will. You know what? I always believed every time I do these, people always say, oh, you're talking to me. And what I know is really I'm talking to myself. And so sometime, somewhere this weekend, I'm sure I'm going to have an opportunity to not engage with someone, to not get upset, to handle it without the upset. That's my goal right now. And I'm doing much, much, much better at it. And I invite you to consider that as an option for yourself as well. All right, not seeing any last minute checkouts, and I need the time to prep for our complaint-free meditation group. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this morning. And please remember, thank you, Michelle. Great to hear that. Thank you. Please remember to share this message. Just click share right now. That lets friends and family know that we are here. We are here to inspire. We are here to bring hope. We are here to bring a little bit of aha every morning to your day. And most importantly, I'm here to jumpstart your day. That's my goal. So thank you for allowing me to do so and being with me. Teddy will be with us when we get back together on Monday. And I look forward to seeing you. Enjoy today. And we will talk tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye, everybody.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing.